Part 8. God Level Tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tien Tien Taido. Chapter 71. 10 million at a time, no less. The Taoist robe youth still looked proud and superior, not taking them seriously at all. When Longzhiming heard this, his face became a little ugly. The other party didn't give him any face. The Taoist in front of him not only didn't save him, but was also so arrogant and shameless. He charged 10 million for a visit. This is simply unscrupulous money-making. Longzhiming was also furious in his heart, and he was about to lose control. The two guards next to him had already been unable to help. "You are so rude, you are looking for death. A little Taoist priest, what qualifications do you have to say such things?" The two warrior guards clenched their fists, and powerful power burst out from their bodies, and they were about to blast the Taoist robe youth in front of them. "You are really overestimating your own abilities." The Taoist robe youth saw the actions of the two people, but said disdainfully, with a strong confidence in his voice. The next moment, the young man in Taoist robe also moved, and the power of the innate warrior burst out directly. The next moment, the fists of the two were actually caught directly. The two guards' faces changed drastically. They felt a great force coming. Bang! Bang! Two dull sounds came, and two figures were directly shaken away, and fell heavily on the ground again, with blood at the corners of their mouths. This scene made Longzhiming look horrified. "Warrior? Are you a warrior?" Longzhiming said in a deep voice. The person who could easily injure his two warrior guards could only be a warrior, and he was still a warrior stronger than the two. Above the acquired warrior, it could only be the innate. "Yes, I am an innate warrior. And my master is a real cultivator," the young man in Taoist robe said with a smile, his voice full of incomparable pride. Hearing this, Longzhiming's heart condensed again. It seems that there is really no way out, it is really difficult to deal with. This Sanyang Genren is not only a cultivator, but also doesn't give them any face and refuses to make friends with them. Hidden danger. This is a hidden danger. But now Longzhiming has no choice but to report the situation here and see how others decide. "Let's go," Longzhiming said to the two guards who got up and prepared to leave. Suddenly, he noticed Li Hao and Qin Yaking not far away. Longzhiming was startled. It turned out to be the two people he had seen before. Li Hao and Qin Yaking also looked at Longzhiming, and Li Hao smiled and nodded, saying hello. Li Hao naturally heard clearly what the other party said to the young man in Taoist robes. Li Hao had already made a decision in his heart. After picking the 100-year-old Ganodermolucidum to cure Mr. Qin, Li Hao didn't mind going for a walk. Next. But at this time, the young man in Taoist robes shouted again. "Uncle Taoist priest, can you save my mother? My mother is dying." A little girl, who looked about 8 or 9 years old, was wearing thin clothes, with long hair tied up casually, a little messy, and sweat on her face. Next to the little girl, there was a pale woman, who looked young, about 30 years old. This woman was very thin, and her pale face was even a little blue. Cough 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 cough. Cough cough. The woman kept coughing, and the whole person was extremely weak, as if she couldn't stand steadily and would fall at any time. She put one hand on the weak shoulder of her little daughter. The little girl carried her mother's body on her shoulders, and used all her strength to bring her mother up the mountain. The little girl begged the young man in Taoist robes, and her appearance was very pitiful. This scene made Longzhiming stunned again. The steps that were about to leave paused, and a wave of waves arose in his heart. Not far away, Li Hao and Qin Yaking saw this scene. Qin Yaking, who was standing next to him, also had a touch of pity in her eyes and said slowly, "What a poor baby." Li Hao was also moved. Li Hao could naturally see that the woman was dying, and the woman was coughing and coughing up blood. There must be something wrong with her lungs. I'm afraid it would be very uncomfortable to walk a few steps, but the woman was actually carried up by the little girl. It can be said that this little girl carried her mother up the mountain by herself. How much suffering she had to endure, how much willpower she had. Li Hao's heart was also filled with huge waves, and he also felt pity. Huh? But at this moment, a question mark appeared out of thin air on the head of the woman in front of him. Li Hao was suddenly stunned. The task is here? There was nothing just now, this question mark really appeared out of thin air. What a surprise! Li Hao clicked the question mark without hesitation. A QR code popped up immediately, and then Li Hao paid another 200 yuan. Ding dong, the task was successfully received. If you save this woman's life, you will get a great reward. The task is to save this woman's life. What a coincidence, I just had this idea, and this task came. Good. The system is really good. There are rewards for tasks, can there be more? I don't mind saving a few more. However, Li Hao glanced at it, but did not see any more prompts. Huh? Help your mother? Little girl, where is the money? 10 million. Do you have it? The young man in Taoist robes frowned, waiting for the little girl to say, but his eyes were full of disgust. Uncle Taoist, I have money, I have money. This is all the money my mother and I have. As long as I can save my mother, all this money will be given to you. The little girl listened to the words of the young man in Taoist robes and quickly took out a wrapped plastic bag from her bag. When she opened it, she found a stack of organized cash. There were 1 10 yuan note, 2 5 yuan notes, some 1 yuan notes, 50-cent notes, and even $1 notes. 2 cents and coins. It looks like it should be dozens of dollars. The little girl held the money in her small hands and handed it to the young man in Taoist robes. These dozens of dollars were saved by her and her mother by picking up scraps for a long time, and they were all their belongings. How dare you come to my master for treatment with this little money? Go away. The man in Taoist robes said with a gloomy look. With a wave of his hand, he knocked the money out of the little girl's hand and dropped it to the ground. Ah! Uncle Taoist, please save my mother. We only have so much money. The little girl screamed, squatted down again, picked up the money that fell on the ground one by one, and then actually knelt in front of the young man in Taoist robes and begged again. The shielding in the previous chapter was modified and has not been unlocked yet. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 72. The little girl knelt in front of the young man in Taoist robes, took the money she had just picked up from the ground, and handed it to the young man in Taoist robes. She grabbed the Taoist robes of the young man with one hand and kept begging. Yunyan, get up quickly, ahem, we won't watch anymore. Next to her, the little girl's mother was extremely sad when she saw this scene. If Yunyan hadn't been young and couldn't bear to let her live alone, she would have died long ago. Damn it, get out of here, you're soiling my clothes. The young man in the robe had a cold face, and there was no mercy in his eyes. He stared at the little girl fiercely, raised his hand, and was about to slap the little girl. Stop. Not far away, when Longshiming saw this scene, his expression changed and he shouted sternly, ready to rush over, but it was already too late. Seeing it, the young man in Taoist robe was about to hit the little girl with his hand. This little girl is so thin, and the young man in Taoist robes is also an innate warrior. It is hard to imagine what kind of beating the little girl will get if the beating continues. However, the next moment, the hand of this young man in a robe stopped. Everyone was stunned. What is going on? Could it be that this young man in Taoist robes has woken up and stopped? The face of the young man in Taoist robes was full of shock at this moment. It's not that he stopped, it's that he couldn't move his hands, not just his hands. A suffocating feeling filled his body, and the spiritual power of heaven and earth seemed to be oppressing his body. The next moment, boom! In the void, a powerful invisible force directly hit the young man in Taoist robes. Bang! The young man in Taoist robes vomited blood, and his body was slammed backwards, directly hitting the door of the main hall behind him. The door was smashed into pieces, and he fell into the main hall in a very embarrassed state. There are no statues of gods or gods in the main hall. But in the center of the hall, on a futon, there was a Taoist wearing a yellow robe, sitting cross-legged. This Taoist priest has a fat head and big ears, and the Taoist robe he wears is bulging. He looks like he is in his 40s or 50s. His face is red, and he has a somewhat extraordinary temperament. This Taoist priest is Sanyang Genren. Master Sanyang is the name he gave himself. His real name is actually Feng Sanyang. He thought he had his eyes closed, but at this moment he suddenly opened them and looked at the young man in Taoist robes lying on the ground with a gloomy expression. "Master!" The young man in Taoist robes immediately shouted to Feng Sanyang. "Waste!" Feng Sanyang glanced at the young man indifferently and didn't care about this guy. Then Feng Sanyang stood up and walked out directly. The next moment, Feng Sanyang's eyes fell directly on a young man not far away. "Your distinguished guest is coming from afar, and I hope you will forgive me for not being able to welcome you from afar. However, fellow Taoist, should you give me an explanation for hurting this poor Taoist disciple?" Feng Sanyang looked at Li Hao coldly, with a sharp edge in his eyes, and said in a deep voice. Feng Sanyang is a Foundation Establishment realm monk. Although he is only in the early stage of Foundation Establishment, his perception is extremely sharp. When Li Hao took action just now, he sensed that the young man in front of him was also a monk, and he was still so young. The person who can stand there motionless and directly use the spiritual power of heaven and earth to crush the disciple of his innate warrior, leaving him unable to fight back, must be a monk. Although Feng Sanyang could not see the depth of Li Hao, he already regarded Li Hao as an equal being. He was so young and should be in the early stage of foundation building. "Master, this is a master." The people around them, especially Longsheiming and the others, were suddenly shocked when they heard Taoist Sanyang's words. "Fellow Taoist? Is he speaking to this young man? Could it be that this young man is also a monk? Was he the one who just made the move?" Longsheiming and others were so shocked that they looked at Li Hao with wide eyes. Next to her, Qin Yaking also looked at Li Hao in disbelief. "Monk? Li Hao is a legendary monk? No wonder he was able to save his grandfather." When Feng Sanyang came out, Li Hao's eyes also condensed, and Li Hao could feel the majestic power on the other person's body. Li Hao doesn't know where his current specific cultivation level is, nor does he know how powerful he is now, because Li Hao has never really made a move. In front of him, this Master Sanyang was the first monk Li Hao met. Not only was Li Hao not afraid, he even had some fighting spirit, especially some anger. This Taoist is a monk who doesn't do good deeds, cure illnesses and save people, but he actually indulges his disciples. Li Hao was really angry. But at this time, ahem, ahem, ahem. The little girl's mother kept coughing again and covered her mouth with a handkerchief. The next moment, the handkerchief was covered with blood. Then the woman fainted and was about to fall down. "Ah! Mom, Mom!" The little girl let out a scream and quickly supported the woman. Her face changed drastically, she panicked, and kept shouting, not knowing what to do. "Mom, Mom, wake up! You don't want to die. You can't leave Yin Yin behind." The little girl kept crying, tears streaming down her face. Seeing this scene, Li Hao slowly walked over, went straight to the little girl's side, and looked at the woman. "Little sister, let me see your mother," Li Hao said softly to the little girl. "Brother, can you save my mother?" When the little girl heard Li Hao's voice, she raised her head and looked at him, with a touch of expectation and hope in her eyes. Li Hao nodded. "Great, big brother, you must save my mother. I will give you all the money," the little girl suddenly said excitedly. Li Hao put his hand on the woman's wrist and felt the condition of the woman's body. The woman's lungs were failing. But the next moment, Li Hao directly activated his cultivation power again, injecting a touch of spiritual power into the woman's body. The disease in the woman's body dissipated directly, as if encountering a natural enemy when encountering this spiritual power. At a certain moment, Li Hao's hand fell on the woman's back, and with a strong force, the woman vomited out a large mouthful of blood. "Mom!" The little girl was so frightened that her face changed color again. "Your mother is fine." But Li Hao's voice came again. "Huh? Really?" The little girl still didn't believe it. But then, the woman's complexion became rosy, and the vitality of the woman's body was regenerated with this ray of spiritual power, and then the woman opened her eyes. "Woke up. Mom, you're awake. Mom, you're really awake." Seeing this scene, the little girl said excitedly, "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Tian Taido. Chapter 73. The woman woke up, her face became rosy, and the weakness in her body disappeared. It was as if she was well. "Mom!" the little girl shouted excitedly. "Yunyin!" The woman also looked at the little girl. She didn't want to die because she had such a well-behaved, cute, and sensible daughter, but just now, her heart was full of despair, and now, it was full of hope. The woman hugged the little girl tightly in her arms, and the mother and daughter had a deep love. "Mom, are you okay?" the little girl asked excitedly because her mother had strength. "Yes. Mom is fine." The woman nodded, and then looked at Li Hao again. "Benefactor. Thank you for saving my life." The next moment, the woman knelt down directly in front of Li Hao. "No, no, no, this is not allowed." Li Hao immediately supported the woman and continued. "Although your illness has been cured, your body is still very weak. You need to rest well." Not far away, Long's Himing saw the scene and was shocked. A dying person was cured in such a short time. This is too shocking. Long's Himing's eyes lit up again. This young man is also a cultivator? It's really a hopeless case. Ding dong, congratulations to the host, you have completed the task and obtained the 9 Heavens Thunder method. The 9 Heavens Thunder method can control the power of thunder and trigger the 9 Heavens Thunder tribulation to come. But at this time, in Li Hao's mind, a system prompt sounded suddenly. Just after saving this woman, the system rewarded him. The efficiency is very high. And this time, the system actually directly rewarded him with the thunder technique he practiced. 9 Heavens Thunder method? Li Hao was shocked. He is becoming more and more like a fairy hero, a city cultivator. Buzz. Instantly, Li Hao's brain was shaken again, and a powerful message poured into Li Hao's mind. It was the technique of using the 9 Heavens Thunder method, which was directly learned by Li Hao and turned into a feeling, which could be used at any time. Controlling the power of the thunder can cause the thunder to fall. Li Hao was also very excited. This was the real immortal method. It could even control the thunder. Then he could strike anyone he wanted in the future? I asked you a question, didn't you hear it? Seeing Li Hao grinning foolishly, Sanyang Genren's face was gloomy, and he said to Li Hao coldly. This guy in front of him didn't even look at him, he was simply looking for death. Hearing Sanyang Genren's words, Li Hao turned his head and looked at Sanyang Jinren, and then laughed coldly again. Ha ha. Just a stinky Taoist who bullies the weak. If he gets hurt, he gets hurt. Explain. What do you want to explain? Li Hao's voice was full of pride and even more overbearing. Hearing Li Hao's words, Sanyang Jinren's eyes suddenly condensed again. Looking for death. I want to see how much Taoism you have today. Sanyang Jinren was angry. It was the first time he saw such a crazy guy. Although this guy was also a cultivator, he was so young that he would definitely not be his opponent. Sanyang Jinren was still very confident in his own strength. Boom. As Sanyang Jinren's voice fell, a strong momentum was released from Sanyang's body. At this moment, the people around felt a strong sense of oppression, as if there was a strong pressure on them. Swish. Suddenly, it seemed that there was a strong wind, and the spiritual power of heaven and earth was condensing around Sanyang Jinren's body. Immediately afterwards, Sanyang Jinren's eyes burst out with a sharp edge, looking at Li Hao. Go. Sanyang Jinren stood with one hand behind his back, shouted coldly, and the other hand directly blasted out a palm. Suddenly, in front of Sanyang Jinren, the spiritual power instantly condensed into a huge palm print, which went towards Li Hao with terrifying power. Oh my god, what is this? Such a big palm print, is this a god? It looks so scary. This is a cultivator. Master, this is a master. This is simply not a human. This scene, in the eyes of those around, made them all feel turbulent. It was beyond their imagination. This was no longer something that human power could do. In their eyes, this was already a method of gods, too mysterious. Li Hao. Seeing this scene, Qin Yaking was also pale and shouted loudly. However, Li Hao was calm and peaceful. Li Hao felt the other party's cultivation and the degree of the offensive he launched, but a faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. It looked very scary, but in Li Hao's eyes, it was very ordinary. From this might, Li Hao has already sensed the other party's cultivation level. It seems not as strong as imagined. Isn't it just a palm that condenses the spiritual power of heaven and earth? I can do it too. The next moment. Boom. A powerful aura suddenly emerged from Li Hao's body. When this powerful aura emerged, the entire space seemed to solidify. The powerful pressure was like the power of heaven and earth. I feel like I can't stand still. I peed. What the hell? When Li Hao's pressure came out, the people around him were shocked. Under this pressure, they felt that their legs were weak and they were about to lose their balance. This is really a fight between gods, and mortals suffer. The next moment, Li Hao clenched his fist and punched out. It was an ordinary punch. However, the moment this punch was thrown out, the whole space was shaken. This punch contained extremely powerful power. Boom. In an instant, this punch collided with the giant palm of Sanyang Jinren. In an instant, a deafening roar resounded. Then, everyone saw that the giant palm of spiritual power was directly smashed by this palm. Bang. At the same time, there was a dull sound. Puff. A sound of vomiting blood was also heard, and the body of Sanyang Jinren was hit hard, and he flew backwards while spitting blood. Ah! A scream sounded, and Sanyang Jinren's body directly hit the pillar of the hall, and he was in a mess. Ah! How is this possible? You are in the late stage of foundation building. Sanyang Jinren looked at Li Hao in horror, and was even more unbelievable. He lost, and he was defeated in the middle stage of foundation building. He was seriously injured with just one punch from the opponent. The opponent was stronger than him, and he was stronger by a little bit. Hiss. The people around saw the scene and took a breath of cold air. It was so scary. Li Hao looked at Sanyang Jinren, and had a preliminary understanding of his own strength in his heart. Late stage of foundation building? Li Hao didn't know if he was, but just now, Li Hao was actually still controlling his strength, and he didn't even use the 9 heavens thunder method that he had just been rewarded. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 74. Foundation building monk? So weak? It seems not as strong as imagined. Li Hao couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. I thought that when I met a monk, I could show off my power. That's it? All I can say is that the other party is too weak. Of course, this is Li Hao's idea. In fact, Li Hao was wrong. It was not that the opponent was weak, but that he was too strong. He took the body tempering pill to temper his body, and then took the foundation building pill. He perfectly built the foundation and changed his bones. These are not 3 things. Yang Zhenren can compare. And Li Hao is not in the middle stage of foundation building either. Li Hao didn't know how to define the late middle school period, but it seemed that he was about to enter the next stage. Looking at this Sanyang master, Li Hao's eyes were filled with coldness again. Then, Li Hao walked up slowly. What are you going to do? Master Sanyang was a little timid and said fearfully. What to do? Don't you want an explanation? Now, I will give you an explanation. When Li Hao heard what Master Sanyang said, he sneered, said lightly, and slowly walked to Master Sanyang. Master Sanyang was even more frightened when he heard Li Hao's words. Did Li Hao actually want to kill him? It is normal for monks to kill people. Ah! No more, I don't want it anymore. Fellow Taoist, I was just ignorant and blind, please forgive me. Don't kill me. Master Sanyang screamed in surprise and quickly said to Li Hao, how could he still be a bit of a master? Master Sanyang doesn't want to die. He has practiced hard for decades and finally became a monk. Now is the time to enjoy the blessings. Unexpectedly, he has offended someone he shouldn't have. He really doesn't want to die. Li Hao looked at the Sanyang master with cold eyes. The next moment, Li Hao grabbed Master Sanyang in the air. Immediately, Master Sanyang was lifted up as if a pair of invisible hands had strangled his neck. Master Sanyang struggled, but he couldn't break free from these big hands. Even if he used his physical strength, he still couldn't break free. He only felt that his body strength was controlled by a powerful force. Master Sanyang actually felt a sense of suffocation, death was imminent, and regret filled his heart. What did he do to provoke the other party? Now he is fine, and even his life is about to be lost. Li Hao grabbed Master Sanyang's neck. The life of Master Sanyang was under his control. As long as he used a little bit of strength, Master Sanyang would die. Don't kill me. I will give you all my money, more than 3 billion. And I have never harmed anyone. I even help them treat illnesses and save lives. I just charge a little more money. Master Sanyang was really scared when he was about to die. He said to Li Hao again, hoping that Li Hao would let him go for the sake of money. There were more than 3 billion in his bank account. He saved it again and again. Li Hao couldn't help but his eyes lit up when he heard Master Sanyang's words. More than 3 billion? So rich. Did the whole thing come from these medical doctors? Also awesome. For the sake of the money, I'll let you go for now, but please answer my 2 questions. The next moment, Li Hao let go of his hand and said lightly. Master Sanyang was immediately overjoyed and said quickly. Fellow Taoist, please tell me. Not to mention 2 questions, even 10 questions, or 100 questions, you have to agree, your life is at stake. What's above the foundation building realm? Li Hao asked directly. When Master Sanyang heard Li Hao's words, his eyes suddenly widened and he asked himself about his realm. He doesn't know the realm of cultivation? Well, it's similar to the realms in Xiangxia novels. Above the foundation is the realm of pill formation, and above the realm of pill formation is the realm of spiritual connection. The monks in the realm of spiritual connection are also called masters. Above that, I don't know. The three-eyed master said immediately. Li Hao's heart froze when he heard Master Sanyang's words. Build foundation, form elixir, communicate with gods. Is this the known realm? Then in Great China, are there many monks like you? Li Hao asked again, asking a question that he was more curious about. As for foundation building monks, there are still some. There must be some in Kunlun Mountain and Penglai Mountain. There must also be monks in the big families in Jinghua, and there must even be some in their troops. Master Sanyang said again, pointing at Longsheiming, and then continued. As for how far these people have reached, I don't know. Foundation building is for sure. As for forming pills, there should be one in the snow area, and there is probably one in southern Xinjiang. As for the masters of the realm of gods, there are some in Great China, but they are real people who are like dragons but never see their tail. I have never seen them. Master Sanyang was very conscious and told everything he knew. He didn't dare not to make it clear. Now his life was in the hands of the other party. Well, that's all I know. Can you let me go? Master Sanyang said weakly again. No problem, transfer all the more than 3 billion you just mentioned. This is my account. Li Hao said again. After hearing Li Hao's words, Master Sanyang's complexion became as ugly as eating food, and he was unwilling to do so. What? Don't want to? Li Hao's eyes flashed again. Turn around, I'll turn around right now. Sanyang Genren was about to cry. Under the pressure of Li Hao, he had to compromise. Soon, he transferred all the more than 3 billion in the account to Li Hao, without leaving any change. Go away. Since you have never hurt anyone, I will let you go. Don't let me see you again. Li Hao said coldly. He had no sympathy for such a person, but he did not kill him because he saw that the other party had difficulty in cultivation and had never hurt anyone. Sanyang Genren ran away in disgrace. He did not dare to stay any longer and did not even take his disciples with him. Master, please save us. Yes, we have money, we will give you money. Save my wife. Sanyang Genren ran away, but the people around him who were seeing a doctor here were excited again. They saw Li Hao's methods with their own eyes. This was a more powerful existence than Sanyang Genren. They immediately said to Li Hao. Helplessly, seeing these people, Li Hao really couldn't bear to ignore them. So, Li Hao used up some of his physical and spiritual energy to cure all the people suffering from the disease. As for their money, Li Hao naturally did not take it. There were already more than 3 billion in the account, what else could he want? In total, Li Hao only spent about an hour to cure all these people. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 75. Li Hao got information about the realm of cultivation from the mouth of Master Sanyang, and some waves arose in his heart. Li Hao did not expect that there were so many monks in this great country. It's really crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Master Sanyang left, and Li Hao let this guy go seeing that he didn't do anything harmful. Now, Li Hao spent some time to cure all the people who came to see the doctor. Almost nothing is too difficult. After doing all this, Li Hao turned his attention to the mountain temple on the extremely steep mountain top. Wait for me, I'll be down soon. Li Hao said to Qin Yaking again. The next moment, Li Hao's body jumped up. Li Hao's body seemed to be riding on the wind, light and fluttering, and his steps were extremely light, stepping lightly on the mountain crystal. Step by step, floating upward. This. Oh my God. This is too awesome. A series of exclamations came from the mouths of these people, and the eyes of the figures were filled with incomparable horror. Looking at Li Hao walking on the mountain as if walking on flat ground, his heart was filled with turmoil. It's like flying up. What a magic trick! Li Hao controlled the spiritual energy around the world. The spiritual energy lifted Li Hao's body up, and then moved upward step by step, as if he was truly walking on the wind. Soon, Li Hao came to the top of this steep mountain. There is only about 10 square meters on the top of the mountain, but a dilapidated mountain temple stands majestically on the top of the mountain. It has not fallen down after countless years of wind and rain. At a glance, Li Hao noticed a dark and shiny Ganoderma lucidum growing on the eaves of the mountain temple. What a big Ganoderma lucidum! Li Hao couldn't help but sigh. 100-year-old Ganoderma lucidum, this is the century-old Ganoderma lucidum? Li Hao was a little surprised that this Ganoderma lucidum had not been taken away after all these years. Not to mention, it is difficult for anyone to come up here. Perhaps, it is not that no one came here and discovered this Ganoderma lucidum, but they still allowed it to grow on the mountain temple. This Ganoderma lucidum seems to be waiting for itself. Li Hao did not hesitate and plucked this century-old Ganoderma lucidum. When Li Hao went down again, Qin Yaking and others were shocked. What a big Ganoderma! Oh my god, this is the Ganoderma king. He actually picked such a big Ganoderma lucidum. How much is it worth? This is the first time I have seen such a big Ganoderma lucidum. The exclamations never stopped. Even Long's Himing from that unit had shock in his eyes. Let's go. Li Hao said directly to Qin Yaking again. I have obtained this century-old Ganoderma lucidum, and I have to go back quickly to save the old man. Qin Yaking nodded, unable to conceal her inner excitement. Grandpa was saved. Comrade, please wait a moment. But at this moment, Long's Himing suddenly shouted to Li Hao. Li Hao's eyes narrowed slightly. He already guessed what the other party wanted to say, but he still asked. Sir, what's the matter? Long's Himing looked at Li Hao and said pleadingly. Comrade, please save my old commander. You tell us the conditions, and we will do our best to satisfy you. If Li Hao takes action, his old commander will be saved. They have already witnessed Li Hao's methods just now. Li Hao secretly said that it was true. No problem, but I have other people I need to rescue and go back to Jiangbei. I can't follow you now. Li Hao did not refuse and directly agreed. The other party was a soldier and he had 1,000 reasons to save him, but not now. Ah! That's great, it's okay, we'll wait for you. Hearing Li Hao's words, Long's Himing looked happy. He didn't expect that he would agree so readily. As long as he can do it, it doesn't matter if it's a little later. The old officer should still be able to hold on for a while. No, just give me your address. I'll come find you when I'm ready. Li Hao said again. We are the Southwest Garrison. I am Long's Himing from the garrison headquarters. How about I let the two of them follow you? Long's Himing said to Li Hao again that their headquarters was deep inside the garrison and not accessible to ordinary people. Letting these two of his guards accompany them would save them some trouble in the future. When Li Hao heard Long's Himing's words, his heart froze again. Naturally, Li Hao has heard of the Southwest Guards Army, which is the army that guards the southwest area of Dehua Kingdom. In the entire Dehua Kingdom, there are 9 such garrison troops, namely, East, West, South, North, Southeast, Southwest, Northeast, and Northwest. Plus a central one, the 9 garrison armies are the Dehua Kingdom town. The power of the country. And this Long's Himing actually belongs to the garrison headquarters. Although his specific identity is not stated, it can still be seen that he is very unusual. No need. Li Hao said calmly. After saying that, he directly pulled Qin Yaking and walked down the mountain. Longsheiming, who was behind, quickly followed with the guards. However, before walking very far, Li Hao's eyes fell on a distant cliff again. There was a dazzling light attracting Li Hao's attention. And this light was only visible to Li Hao. It was an exclamation mark on a verdant tree, which grew on the cliff halfway up the mountain, several feet above the ground. Li Hao did not notice this hint when he came up. Apparently, this hint just came out. Come, hold this Ganodermolucidum for a while, and wait for me. Li Hao said directly to Qin Yaking again, handing the huge Ganodermolucidum in his hand to Qin Yaking. This Ganodermolucidum was very big, but it was not heavy. Ah! Qin Yaking stared at Li Hao in astonishment as he stuffed the Ganodermolucidum into her, and then looked at Li Hao going towards the cliff in the distance, with a puzzled look on her pretty face. What was he going to do? In the back, Longsheiming and the other two were also puzzled. The next moment, Li Hao had already arrived under the cliff. Li Hao pointed at the exclamation mark on the tree across the space. Suddenly, a QR code arrived as expected. Li Hao paid another 200 yuan directly. Ding dong, this is 100-year-old tea king. Pick these tea leaves and take them back to drink. Whether you are a monk or an ordinary person, it will have extraordinary effects. The system prompt sound suddenly sounded. Seeing this prompt, Li Hao was shocked. It turned out to be a 100-year-old tea king. Ordinary spiritual tea is so precious, this is actually a 100-year-old tea king. Is my luck so good? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 76. I just picked a 100-year-old Ganodermolucidum, and not even half an hour later, I unexpectedly encountered another 100-year-old tea king de Dudu. This luck is simply not good. Li Hao was also a little happy. Li Hao remembered that Mr. Qin had said before that he spent 50 million to get such a big belly band for two tails through connections. How many can be picked from this big belly plant in front of me? I'm afraid it might weigh several kilograms. Moreover, this is not an ordinary big belly bag, but a centuries-old tea king. If it is sold, the price will definitely be more expensive. How much would it fetch for such a big one? The system is awesome. If the system hadn't prompted me and I hadn't discovered it, I might have missed it. Moreover, the system did not have more detailed information this time, which surprised Li Hao. Li Hao didn't care so much. Since he had met him, it was his. And this is originally wild, I just picked some tea leaves. Li Hao activated his cultivation power and jumped upward gently. Whoosh! The next moment, Li Hao's body floated up again, leaping several feet high, and stepped directly on the thick branches of the century-old tea king. The roots of the century-old tea king's belly band were deeply embedded in the cracks of the rocks. Even if Li Hao stepped on them, they would not move at all. The leaves of this century-old tea king de Dudu are not much different from ordinary leaves, but the leaves appear greener and faintly, as if there is a touch of spiritual light. Li Hao started picking immediately. He even took off his clothes and held the picked tea leaves directly. What is he doing? Longsheiming and others were also very puzzled when they saw Li Hao's scene. A guard next to him said in confusion, "Pick leaves." In their eyes, Li Hao was indeed picking leaves. Soon, Li Hao had almost picked all the leaves on the belly of a century-old tea king. But Li Hao still left some leaves. If he plucked them all and let this century-old tea king plant die, it would be more of a loss than a gain. Wouldn't it be better if you can pick such a good thing again next year when the leaves grow? Li Hao jumped down again, and then came to Qin Yaking again. What are you doing? Qin Yaking couldn't help but ask curiously. Pick tea leaves. Li Hao grinned and said with a smile. Picking tea leaves. What tea leaves? Chin Yaking was even more surprised and confused. Why did tea grow on that cliff? Ling cha big dudu. Li Hao looked at Chin Yaking, leaned slightly, and whispered into Chin Yaking's ear. Ah, is this big? Hearing Li Hao's words, Chin Yaking couldn't help but exclaim, and her heart was filled with huge waves. Is this the Ling cha big belly bag that her grandfather spent a lot of money to buy? Li Hao got so much so easily. His. Chin Yaking's beautiful eyes were filled with unconcealable excitement, and she took a breath of cold air. This luck is simply too good. Big. What's big? What kind of tea is this? Have no idea. Not far behind him, Long's Hyming's guard said again in surprise. Walk. Ahead, Li Hao said to Chin Yaking again. Li Hao was undoubtedly in a good mood. Li Hao took Chin Yaking down the mountain. Soon, the two of them walked to the parking place. Two black autos were parked next to each other, the same style, the same grandeur, but the license plates were different. One was for ordinary photography, while the other was a military vehicle for photography. Seeing this scene, Li Hao was also stunned. He was about to put the century-old Tea King Big Dudu tea and this century-old Ganoderma lucidum into the trunk of the car. Comrade, wait a moment. But Long's Hyming shouted to Li Hao again. Is there anything else? I said that after my people are rescued, I will go to your army by myself. Li Hao frowned slightly and said in a deep voice. Long's Hyming directly took the car keys from the guard's hand, then came to Li Hao and said with a smile. Comrade, don't get me wrong. It's like this, ordinary people in our army are not allowed to enter without someone to take them, and the injury status of my old commander is kept confidential from the outside world. In order to cause unnecessary trouble, do you think this will work? How about we change to another car? When we go to our unit, we can drive right in. Long's Hyming suggested that it turned out that he wanted to change cars. Since Li Hao didn't want them to follow, and Long's Hyming was afraid that Li Hao would waste time on the road or be blocked, he thought of this method. Li Hao and Chin Yaking were both stunned. Is this a military vehicle? Let them drive back. What do you think? Li Hao asked Chin Yaking. The Audi they drove out also belonged to Chin Yaking's father, Chin Lai. Ah! Chin Yaking was also startled, but quickly said again. I haven't driven a military vehicle yet. Hee. Anyway, there are a lot of cars in my dad's garage. I can just replace them. And what he said makes sense. It's not easy for the troops to get in. You drive this car. It's also more convenient. Hearing Chin Yaking's words, Li Hao laughed again and said directly. That's fine. Let's change it. So, the two exchanged the car keys. The car was still the same, but for some reason, when Li Hao sat in the two No 00005 cars, he felt something was different. That was the temperament. When you sit in this car, your temperament seems to change. The two drove the car, all the way unimpeded, and went straight to Jiangbei again. Military car. What a great license plate. Oh my god, this is car number 5, who is the big shot sitting in this car? Big man, the one sitting in this must be a big man. Along the way, Li Hao could hear some people exclaiming after seeing the license plate of this car. A few hours later, this car appeared in Jiangbei. When this No 00005 military vehicle appeared in Jiangbei, some people in Jiangbei were shocked. Li Hao drove this car and passed an intersection, where a traffic policeman was on duty in the middle of the intersection. Suddenly, the traffic police inadvertently glanced at the Audi car waiting for the traffic light, and the next moment, the traffic police's eyes widened. He saw the license plate. 00005. Military vehicle? Is this car number 5? Oh my god. This is the number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Garrison Army. How did it appear in Jiangbei City? The traffic police was shocked and speechless. The next moment, the traffic police stood up in awe, came to the side of the Audi car, stood straight, and saluted the people in the car. Li Hao smiled when he saw this scene. He drove the car and left directly. The traffic police hurriedly shouted in the intercom channel. Report, report, the number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Military Region appeared on Boiling Road. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 77. When Li Hao drove the number 5 officer car of the Southwest Guards Army, he appeared on the border of Jiangbei. The whole Jiangbei was shaken. The traffic policeman just reported the news immediately. What, the number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Guards Army? Oh my God, is this a big boss coming to inspect our Jiangbei? Could it be that your eyesight is dazzled? Why haven't I received any notification from above about such a big matter? On the walkie-talkie, many other police officers on duty were shocked when they heard the news, and they all said in surprise. Report, it's really the number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Guards Army. It's on Guanghua Road now. But at this moment, other police officers who saw the car reported on the intercom. Someone in the internal work group of Jiangbei Police Station reported this matter again. At this moment, in an office of Jiangbei Police Station, Wang Dejiang was sitting leisurely on a chair, smoking a cigarette and drinking tea. Ding ding ding. But at this moment, the phone on his desk rang suddenly, which made him frown slightly. The next moment, Wang Dejiang picked up directly. Hello, I'm Wang Dejiang. What? The number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Guards Army? Why didn't you tell me about such a big thing earlier? When Wang Dejiang heard his subordinates report that the number 5 officer car of the Southwest Guards Army had appeared on the road north of the Yangtze River, Wang Dejiang was suddenly shocked and startled. Where are you now? Clear away, hurry up and clear away. The person sitting in this car must be a big shot. We must ensure the safety of this car. I'll be there soon. Wang Dejiang immediately made arrangements. When this big boss travels, he must ensure the safety of the other party, especially since this is still the border of Jiangbei. There must be no problems. He cannot bear this responsibility. Wang Dejiang couldn't sit still, adjusted his police uniform, and then went out. It would be nice to meet such a big shot. At the same time, the town government building in Jiangbei. In an office again. A middle-aged man wearing trousers and a white shirt, with a slicked back hair and a red face, has the aura of a superior. And this middle-aged man is surprisingly the top leader in Jiangbei City, Shen Changhe. Shen Changhe was sitting on his office chair, looking at some documents and signing his name. Dong dong dong. The office door suddenly rang. Come in. Shen Changhe said directly. Suddenly, a woman in professional attire walked in. She was tall, good-looking, and had a special temperament, perhaps developed from being around a middle-aged man for many years. Leader. The woman shouted to Shen Changhe, with a hint of panic in her voice. What's wrong? When Shen Changhe saw this scene, he frowned slightly and couldn't help but ask, his assistant is very capable and very calm. Such a situation has never happened before. Leader, I just received the news that the number 5 officer car of the Southwest Guards Army appeared in our urban area in Jiangbei. The woman said in a deep voice again. What? The number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Guards Army. Shen Changhe was suddenly shocked when he heard the woman's voice. Where is he going? Have no idea. The woman shook her head. Quick, prepare the car. Shen Changhe stood up directly and ordered the woman again. Such a big shot has passed through the territory under his jurisdiction. As the leader of Jiangbei, he has to show his face no matter what, and get familiar with him. Moreover, this is also an opportunity to make friends with each other. Yes. The woman nodded quickly and went down to get ready. Soon, several black Volkswagen cars were parked neatly at the gate of the town government building, but they all had the word official written on them. Sheng Changhe and the senior staff of the town government building got into the car one after another, and then followed the news and headed towards the location of the number 5 officer car of the Southwest Guard Army. Damn it, what are these big guys in the town government building doing? Is today a special day? Did something big happen? In the square outside the town government building, some people saw the scene and made an uproar. Li Hao drove this number 5 car on the Lost Road in Jiangbei, heading west through the city. Soon, Li Hao was stunned. Because, behind his car, there were several police cars following him. Li Hao couldn't help but wonder. It seemed to have caused some alarm. The car seemed to have been paid attention to by the police. When Li Hao was driving again, he heard someone waiting for a red light at an intersection. It's over, it's over. Actually, 2 more mounted police vehicles arrived and came to the front of his vehicle. The 2 policemen in the car saluted Li Hao and then followed Li Hao on both sides. Ahead, 4 or 5 more traffic policemen appeared at the intersection, and then ordered all the vehicles in front, rear, left, and right of the intersection to stop. Then a traffic policeman came to the front of Li Hao's vehicle and signaled Li Hao to drive. Li Hao was speechless. This seemed to be a bit loud. Li Hao, these police have blocked the intersection and just let us drive? Oh my god, this car is so awesome. Qin Yaking, who was sitting in the passenger seat, was also shocked when she saw this scene. Next. Those intersections were exactly the same as the scene just now, and some roads were even directly closed and temporarily controlled. What big shot is coming down? The roads are temporarily controlled. All the police seem to be dispatched. Countless people were also somewhat surprised by this scene. Li Hao drove the number 5 car, carrying Qin Yaking, and had a smooth journey. Really smooth. At the back, there was not even a red light, all green lights. Li Hao was speechless. Is it really that serious? I was just passing by. Qin Yaking's parents' home is in the suburbs, and I was just passing through the city. Li Hao didn't care too much, and drove directly to Qin Yaking's parents' home. There were 7 or 8 cars following behind. Originally, there were only 2 or 3 police cars, but at some point, several black Volkswagens followed, one of which drove directly in front of the police car and followed closely behind Li Hao's number 5 car. The license plate of this black Volkswagen was actually no 00001, but it was just an ordinary license plate, not a military vehicle. This is Jiangbei's number 1 car. Oh my god, that's the car of Jiangbei's top leader. Even our Jiangbei's top leader followed. This scene is simply terrifying. Even our Jiangbei's number 1 car followed behind the number 5 commander of the garrison army. It's simply so terrifying. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 78. Li Hao also saw the number 1 Jiangbei car behind him through the reflector, and he was extremely speechless. Even our Jiangbei bosses were alarmed. This is something we didn't expect at all. Unexpectedly, this number 5 vehicle of the Southwest Guards Army had such a large amount of energy. In fact, this is normal. The Southwest Guards Army, located in the southwest region of Great China, is not only the garrison of Jiangbei, but also the garrison of dozens of cities in the southwest such as Jiangbei. The number 5 officer of the garrison is naturally not a big shot in Jiangbei. Comparable. Li Hao ignored the cars following him and headed west toward the suburbs. I thought that after following for a while, the cars behind me would leave separately. However, Li Hao miscalculated. These cars actually followed Qin Yaking to the entrance of Qin Yaking's parents' villa area. They won't follow suit, right? Qin Yaking said in surprise again. Have no idea. Li Hao shook his head, but stopped immediately. But at this moment, the cars behind also stopped. What the hell? The number 5 car from the Southwest Guards Army, the number 1 car from Jiangbei, and the number 2 car are all here. Something big happened. Can someone tell me what happened? When these cars appeared here, the people here were shocked. The next moment, on the number 1 car in Jiangbei, Shen Changhe got off the car. Wang Dejiang also got off the police car behind and followed Shen Changhe. Some Jiangbei bosses also got off from several other cars, also following Shen Changhe. Then, Shen Changhe came forward with 7 or 8 big men from Jiangbei, waiting next to the number 5 car of the Southwest Guards Army. Seeing this scene, Li Hao was speechless. Then, Li Hao opened the door and took him away directly. When Shen Changhe and others saw that such a young man got out of the car, their eyes were filled with surprise. Why did a young man come down? Moreover, this young man was not wearing a military uniform, and he even looked a little thin, not like a soldier. What is this situation? Could it be the driver? Shen Changhe and others looked inside from the opened car door. There was only one beautiful woman and no one else. This beauty seemed a little familiar. She must have seen her somewhere. Are they all wrong? Isn't the number 5 boss of the Southwest Guard sitting here? But who is this kid? Since he can drive this number 5 car, he obviously has some relationship with the number 5 boss, and his identity is probably not ordinary. Shen Changhe thought in his heart. Why is it you? But at this moment, a surprised voice came from behind Shen Changhe. Everyone followed the voice and saw that it was actually Wang Dejiang. Wang Dejiang did not expect that the person who got off the number 5 car was actually this boy. He knew this kid. He was the kid who provided clues when he caught the escaped prisoner last time. Old Wang, do you know each other? Shen Changhe immediately asked Wang Dejiang. A throne, hello. Li Hao was startled and said hello. Brother Shen, this guy's name is Li Hao. He was the one who provided the clues when we arrested the escaped prisoner. In the accident that happened on the Jiangbei Bridge 2 days ago, it was this guy who acted bravely and saved a car of passengers. Wang Dejiang said immediately. Oh. So you are Li Hao. When Shen Changhe heard Wang Dejiang's words, a look of surprise suddenly appeared in his eyes. He knew both of these things, especially the time when he rescued a car of people on the bridge and it was on the news. At that time, the name Li Hao was remembered by him. Unexpectedly, the young man in front of him was Li Hao. Li Hao, come, let me introduce you. This is our number 1 boss in Jiangbei, Shen Changhe, and this is Song Changjiang. Wang Dejiang said to Li Hao again and introduced him to Li Hao. By the way, Li Hao, what are you doing here? Whose car does this belong to? Why do you drive this car? Wang Dejiang asked Li Hao again. This car is not mine. It was temporarily exchanged by a man named Longji. I was just passing through the city just now. Li Hao didn't hide anything and said directly. As for why you come here, because Uncle Shen, throne. Before Li Hao finished speaking, a woman also got out of the car and shouted to Shen Changhe and Wang Dejiang. Are you Mr. Qin Yaking from Ease Cox Group? Wang Dejiang recognized Qin Yaking, and there was a hint of astonishment in his eyes. At this time, Shen Changhe also widened his eyes, thought about it, and said immediately. Is your father Qin Lai? Qin Yaking nodded. Shen Changhe suddenly understood. No wonder he thought this woman looked familiar. She turned out to be the daughter of a friend. Uncle Shen, throne, this is my home. My parents live here and there. Why don't we go in and sit together? Qin Yaking said again, inviting Shen Changhe and the others. Well, since you're already here, let's just sit down, but I haven't prepared anything yet. I'll make up for it later, haha. Shen Changhe heard Qin Yaking's words and did not refuse. However, this visit was actually empty-handed and I didn't buy any gifts. I was still a little embarrassed, so Shen Changhe promised to make up for it later. So, a group of people drove in directly. In the yard, the old man was resting on a recliner, and Qin Lai, Li Lianying and others were sitting next to him. Dad, are you okay? Yirong couldn't help but ask the old man. Don't worry, I'm fine now. The old man said with a smile. After Li Hao injected a touch of spiritual power into his body, he felt much better. Yaking and the others should be back soon, right? Yirong said again, having said it several times. It should be soon, soon. It will take a whole day. Calculating the time, it's almost time to go back and forth. Qin Lai also said. Just as Qin Lai finished speaking, the sound of a car came from outside the gate. Several people's eyes suddenly lit up, and then they looked towards the door. I saw a black Audi driving in first. Qin Lai made a sound of surprise. This is the number 5 car of the Southwest Guards Army. Why did it come to our house? The old man also saw the car, noticed the license plate, and said in shock. That's Jiangbei's number 1 car behind you. Isn't this Shen Changhe's car? Why is it here too? There are also cars number 2 and 3 from Jiangbei. Besides, what's going on? Qin Lai stared at the cars driving into the yard of his villa with wide eyes, and was shocked. The old man next to him was also shocked. As for Li Lianying and Yirong, not to mention, they were a little confused. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 79. When Li Hao drove the number 5 officer's car of the Southwest Guard Army back to the courtyard of the Qin family villa, followed by the number 1, number 2 and police cars from Jiangbei, Qin Shan, Qin Lai and others were shocked. What is going on? Why did all the cars of these big guys come to their Qin family? Qin Lai and the old man looked at each other, and both could see the shock in the other's eyes. The next moment, the car door opens. Dad, Mom, Grandpa, Grandma, we are back. Qin Yaking and Li Hao got off the number 5 car, and Qin Yaking immediately shouted to Qin Lai and the others. Ah! Yaking, is it really you? What's going on with this car? When Qin Lai saw that the people who got off the car of the number 5 officer of the Southwest Guards Army were actually Li Hao and his 2 men, Qin Lai was filled with turmoil in his heart, and he suddenly asked in surprise. Hey, it's like this. The man named Longsheiming of the Southwest Guards said that his old commander was also seriously ill and wanted Li Hao to go to their army and then exchange his car with ours. For a moment, Qin Yaking said with a smile, and slowly and briefly explained some of the things that happened before. What? Longsheiming of the Southwest Guards Army. It's actually him. But at this moment, Mr. Qin was shocked again when he heard the name. Dad, do you know him? Qin Lai wasn't quite sure about the name. He was surprised when he heard Mr. Qin's words and asked immediately. Commander number 5 of the garrison, you'll get a star for carrying wheat ears on your shoulders. He actually lent you his car on his own initiative. Qin Shan found it unbelievable that he could not make friends with such a big shot. But at this moment, some people also got out of the cars behind. When they saw these people coming down, Qin Shan, Qin Lai and others felt huge emotions in their hearts. When they saw the license plate, they thought of the people on these cars. Sure enough, Jiangbei's first in command, second in command and the first in command of Jiangbei Police Department. They are all big guys, and they actually came together. We are here to welcome you as a distinguished guest. Please forgive me for not being able to welcome you from afar. Mr. Qin said directly. Haha, Mr. Qin is joking. Our sudden visit would be disturbing. How is Mr. Qin's health these days? Sheng Changhe said directly. It's okay, I won't die for a while. Please come in, please come in. The Qin family suddenly became lively. The big bosses from Jiangbei came to visit together, so naturally they had to be well entertained. This is also a rare opportunity to deepen the relationship with Sheng Changhe and others. Sheng Changhe and others even stayed to have a homely meal. During this period, Sheng Changhe and others asked about Li Hao's identity from time to time. In the eyes of Sheng Changhe and others, this young man was the focus of their attention. The young man who can drive the number 5 officer car of the Southwest Guard Army back is definitely not an ordinary person, and his future is unlimited. When Qin Lai, Qin Shan and others heard that Sheng Changhe had followed the car driven by Li Hao here by accident, their hearts were filled with turmoil, and the eyes they looked at Li Hao changed again. This kid really shines wherever he goes. After eating, Sheng Changhe and others left again. When they left, they actually left their phone numbers with Li Hao, saying that if anything happened in Jiangbei, they could contact him at any time. Li Hao wanted to laugh a little. He was a monk. If it was something he couldn't solve, then he wouldn't be able to solve it with Sheng Changhe. But the other party was interested in getting to know each other, and Li Hao was happy to do so. Sheng Changhe and the others did not know that Li Hao was a monk, but they just felt that Li Hao was not an ordinary person. After Sheng Changhe and others left, Li Hao directly took out the 100-year-old Ganoderma lucidum he picked from the trunk of the car. What a big Ganoderma! I have lived for so many years and have never seen such a large Ganoderma lucidum. Is this the century-old Ganoderma lucidum? When Qin Shan and others saw this Ganoderma lucidum, they were shocked and couldn't conceal their excitement. Old man, let's go in and go to the bathroom. Li Hao said to Mr. Qin again. Huh? Bathroom? Qin Shan and others were confused when they heard Li Hao's words, especially Qin Yaking, who looked at Li Hao with wide eyes. A grown man actually called another old man to go to the bathroom. Oh my God, what are you doing in the bathroom? Aren't they going to be washed together? Just imagining that scene is unbearable. Li Hao. Where did he think of this? He said immediately. What are you thinking about? I asked your grandpa to go to the bathroom to soak the Ganoderma lucidum in water, and then he would sit in the water and absorb the medicinal effects of the Ganoderma lucidum. There's no way the old man could chew such a big Ganoderma plant and eat it, right? How long will it last? Therefore, the best way is to directly soak this Ganoderma lucidum in water, melt its elixir essence into the water, and then let the old man bathe in the essence elixir to absorb the medicinal effect, and combine it with his own strength to absorb the elixir into the body. All the injuries he had suffered were restored. Well, Qin Yaking was stunned for a moment, so that was it? In that case, Li Hao, I'll leave it to you. Next to him, Qin Lai also said. By saying this, Uncle Qin, you are out of touch. Since Grandpa Qin is Yaking's grandfather, he is naturally also my grandfather and my elder. Aren't these things I should do? Li Hao smiled again. Then, Li Hao and Mr. Qin walked directly into the room. The hot water in the bathtub was full, steaming, at least 70 or 80 degrees. If the temperature is higher, the medicinal effect of the Ganoderma lucidum will melt faster, and the old man is a warrior, his body has been tempered, and it is also extraordinary, so it is no problem to withstand hot water of 70 or 80 degrees. Soon, Li Hao threw the Ganoderma lucidum into the water again. The next moment, Li Hao's cultivation power was running, and then he began to control the power to make the essence of the Ganodermal lucidum melt into the water. After a while, the huge Ganodermal lucidum had become a layer of skin, and the essence of the spiritual medicine contained in it was all melted into the water, and an extremely rich spiritual energy floated from the water. "Grandpa Chin, now, go in," Li Hao said directly to Mr. Chin again. Suddenly, Mr. Chin, who had taken off his clothes and only wore a pair of shorts, jumped into the water directly. Swish, swish, swish. At this moment, Li Hao controlled the power of cultivation and controlled the essence of the spiritual medicine in the bathtub to go into Qin Shan's body. Originally, Qin Shan, who was just a warrior, could not directly absorb these essences, but as Li Hao's body's spiritual power mixed into the spiritual liquid in the bathtub, it first entered the old man's body. These spiritual medicine essences also began to be absorbed by the body of the old man Qin. God level tip, report the walking 500,000 at the beginning. Author, Tian Taido. Chapter 80. In the bathroom, when the essence of these elixirs entered Mr. Qin's body, Mr. Qin couldn't help but scream in pain. Pain. Heartbreaking pain. Mr. Qin felt that his body as a warrior was about to be torn apart, and the pain was extremely painful. Not only that, but extremely violent experience is entering the old man's body. Hot. Mr. Qin felt as if his body was on fire again. "Grandpa Qin, please bear with me a little," Li Hao said to Qin Shan again. "This is the elixir essence of the century-old Ganodermal lucidum. It is extremely rich and contains powerful vitality, spiritual power, etc. As long as the old man absorbs the essence of this elixir, there will be no problem in the recovery of the old man's injuries, and there will be may go further." Hiss. After hearing Li Hao's words, the old man stopped screaming. He gritted his teeth tightly and his face was distorted in pain, but he didn't scream. The old man sat with his eyes closed tightly, bathing in the essence of the elixir, and forcefully absorbed it under Li Hao's control. Although it hurts, it is also an opportunity. Soon, with the introduction of the essence of these elixirs, the injuries that had existed in the old man's body for many years, including the broken lungs, damaged heart veins, etc., were all repaired. Not only that, it is constantly being strengthened. Moreover, as the essence of these elixirs and spiritual power entered the old man's body, some of the subtle impurities present in the flesh, meridians, blood, and bones were also cleaned out of the old man's body. Tempering body. The old man's physical body transformed again. Not long after, when all the elixir essence in the bathtub was absorbed by the old man suddenly opened his eyes again. Those eyes were bright and full of energy, releasing a fierce light. All right. All the injuries in the old man's body were healed. Moreover, the old man's physical body became more powerful, and his whole body was full of strength and refreshed. "I'm fine? Everything is fine. I feel like I'm about to break through." The old man felt the condition of his body, and his whole body became excited, and he was filled with incredible excitement. All his injuries have healed, and his physical body has gone one step further and has reached the peak of an innate warrior, looking like he may break through at any time. And as long as he breaks through, he can become a true monk. Shocking. The old man was also shocked. "Li Hao, thank you. Thank you very much," the old man said gratefully to Li Hao again. If it weren't for Li Hao, he would be dead and wouldn't be like this. At this moment, Qin Shan was radiant and looked like he was in his 70s. His originally pale hair turned black again, and he looked like he was 20 years younger. Sweat also appeared on Li Hao's forehead. The continuous spiritual power output just now made Li Hao feel a little tired, but it was worth it. When the room door was opened again, Li Hao and Qin Shan appeared in the eyes of Qin Yaking and others. "Ah! Grandpa, you have become younger. Dad, are you okay? It's really amazing." Qin Yaking and others opened their eyes wide and said in disbelief. In this moment, the old man had undergone earth-shaking changes as if he had become a different person. Haha. Okay, everything is done. The old man was also a little happy and said with a smile. It's good to be alive. Li Hao, thank you. Yes, Li Hao, thanks to you. Qin Yaking and others thanked Li Hao again. We are all our own people. Just say thank you and you will be ignored. Li Hao said again, and then suddenly remembered that there seemed to be some good things in the trunk of the car. By the way, there are some good things in the car. Wait for me. After a while, Li Hao came in again holding a large handful of green leaves. This is... What's this? Qin Lai and Yirong looked surprised when they saw what Li Hao was holding. But at this moment, when the old man saw these leaves, his expression was shocked. He clearly felt the powerful spiritual power filled with these leaves. Spiritual tea? And it looked somewhat similar to the big belly bag he drank from before. Hey, Grandpa, parents, Li Hao said this is the big belly band of the century-old Tea King. Before Li Hao could speak, Qin Yaking on the side laughed when she saw her parents and grandfather, and said directly. What? Is this a big belly band? A centuries-old Tea King. Hiss. Hearing Qin Yaking's words, Qin Shan and others were shocked again, and a gasp came out of their mouths. 100-year-old spiritual grass. And, so many? Qin Shan's eyes widened in disbelief, and he pointed at Li Hao and asked. Boy, is this really a century-old belly band? Where did you come from? Li Hao nodded and said immediately. I was lucky. I happened to see one on Lejun Mountain, so I picked it right back. Come on, Grandpa Qin, these are for you. Li Hao directly put this large armful of century-old belly bands on the table. This is too much. This is unacceptable. The old man wanted to refuse, but he was really embarrassed that Li Hao had just saved his life, and now he wanted Li Hao's century-old Tea King belly band. No more, no more, I still have more. Li Hao said again. Grandpa, just take it, he still has it. Qin Yaking said with a smile again, feeling very good. Qin Shan sighed again. Oh, Yaking, our family owes so much to Li Hao. This century-old Tea King, Big Dudu, deserves it even more. The old man said again. Isn't it? I can't have this brightling tea belly band anymore. Next to him, Qin Lai also said. Ah. Grandpa, just take it. He really has a lot of it. Qin Yaking was also speechless. Li Hao had picked a lot of them, but she saw Li Hao pick them with her own eyes, and she felt there was no need to be polite to Li Hao. Grandpa Qin, Uncle Qin, if you think highly of me, then accept it. It's just a little belly bag, it's nothing. Li Hao said in a deep voice again. Oh, okay. The old man sighed again when he heard Li Hao's words. Then he said again. In that case, I will accept it, old man. The conversation changed. However, our Qin family has to repay this kindness. Yaking, you must be nicer to Li Hao in the future. Mr. Qin said again. Ah. Hearing this, Qin Yaking was stunned again. What is this? Be nice to Li Hao from now on. Is this asking her to repay the favor? Yaking, why don't you sleep next to your mother tonight? Li Hao will sleep in your room with you.